On July 4th, 2019, a 6.4 magnitude earthquake hit the city of Los Angeles, followed after that on July 5th with a 7.1. Many homes and roadways, namely in the Ridgecrest area, were damaged, and it eventually led to Governor Gavin Newsom issuing a presidential emergency declaration for all affected areas.
We all, I think, have a unique role and responsibility to prepare individually to be prepared for the next earthquake of magnitude even greater than 7.1.
But right in the middle of LA, nerds were still waiting in line for an anime convention.
Earlier this morning, when the quake actually happened, there were thousands of people out here for the Anime Expo.
I thought I was dizzy, but it was really the earthquake.
Wasn't anything super major, just some shaking beneath my feet. Felt a little wobbly for a second, and then we just kind of looked around and was like, was that an earthquake?
I was at the ATM, and the ATM started jiggling. Super weird.
Yo guys, there's currently an earthquake right now.
Kind of felt like it was rolling like a wave, and at first I wasn't sure. I'm actually from the Bay Area, and I've been expecting earthquakes up there. So coming back down here, I was kind of like thrown off about it and unsure of if it was an earthquake or not until talking to other people later.
I felt slight vibration, but it wasn't until I saw the lights moving under the tent that I knew it was an earthquake.
The earthquake was crazy. I'm actually from Dallas, Texas, and I've never experienced it before. I'm working at the Atsuko booth, which is a clothing brand. And at first, I thought I was lightheaded, right? Then I noticed the clothing racks move, and I knew something was up.
This was my second time to Anime Expo, the biggest anime convention in the nation, with over 100,000 attendees making their way not just from within the state or across the country, but even internationally. I myself had a conversation with someone from Tokyo who was there just enjoying his time. The sheer reach of Anime Expo is highlighted by its constant subject of conversation with everyone in the anime community. My thread was nothing but tweets dedicated to people talking about LineCon, as it's called for its heavily congested way of allowing people even just in and out of the building.
However, this year, I don't know what the frick happened, but management really dropped the ball, and the entire con experience was ruined. The best way for me to describe what was going on, this was kind of like LineCon, to say the least. Trying to get into the actual con was an absolute nightmare.
Not even mentioning lines that get into panels, screenings, restaurants, gameplay showcases, card game tournaments, cosplay photo ops, maid cafes, and even the bathrooms. Yes, Anime Expo is easily the biggest anime convention in the nation. Yet it's also the subject of frequent criticism. Namely, the lines present this issue of organization, as many of us were confused as to what line to get into for events or even just to get into the main exhibit hall, which at the time looked like this. But along with lines, there is an issue of many of the events being overcrowded and supplies to certain booths being scarce and undersold. In fact, the lines themselves are a problem of overpopulation of the con itself. It's just so big that I'm absolutely certain that if there were fire, or as there actually was an earthquake, it would be a better solution to simply lay down and die, especially if you were in the artist's alley located in an underground parking garage. Price was also a subject of criticism by many, as the cost to buy a meal will burn $20 for a burger and fries from your wallet, and that's just LA. We're not even talking about within the con itself. Prices for the 4-day cost $100 if you order anytime after Black Friday, not to mention that they sold out of the passes at 11 o'clock on day 1. I was lucky to get a $7 4-day pass, but for people who are unable to get their schedule sorted out in time to make a solid decision, this presents a very visible problem. And don't even get me started on the prices of a premier badge, which presents a selling point of bypassing the lines and a free lounge, the lines that it sometimes can't even bypass due to how overcrowded things were. An overcrowded, overpriced, very possibly incredibly dangerous convention, all for the purpose of a bunch of nerds gathering together in one place to talk about Japanese cartoons. So why do I love being here? I ask myself this question a lot lately, especially after having just finished a full 4 days of being at this convention. It's the only convention I could feasibly go to since it's barely over an hour from where I live, just a ride on public transit away. It's of course hell, but it's nothing compared to what my friends had to deal with. Kraftsdorf drove hours down to be here, Vindy drove an entire road trip across the country, Onimaru flew across the country, and Super Eye Patch Wolf across the world. And that's not even mentioning the patrons from Japan. That doesn't even take into account costs for staying at an Airbnb, or worse, a hotel in LA, both of which are bound to be extremely overpriced due to its, well, being LA. Traffic itself is an issue, but parking even more so. I know for a fact that I am not willing to park for $35 every day. An Uber or a Lyft or just straight out walking is a better option. And trust me, it's a lot of walking. And you get there and you get into these lines and my god, they are hell. I was lucky that I met a group of guys that hung out with me all the way there, after which I met up with my friend who saved a spot by the entrance. The lines on the second day weren't nearly as bad, but they were... Yeah, they were still bad. I actually spent most of my first day trying to get merch for the Aqua brand new Wave concert, which took up my day all the way till 2 in the afternoon, barely leaving any time for me to do anything other than just screw around in the exhibit hall. A day that ended with me buying a whole ton of Love Live stuff, and then an epic battle of Bakugan with my friend that I met up with. I kicked his ass. The second day was equally as unproductive, but with some really ridiculous memories. And of course, the third day we had the Love Live concert. The fourth day I didn't even manage to get into the Bunny Girl Senpai premiere, which definitely was...
Hello sir, how are you feeling today?
Kind of shitty.
Why is that?
Well, the Bunny Girl Senpai movie was capped. Let me fucking tell you about that, alright? They put it in a small ass room. The app had 5,000 people scheduled to want to go to it, and they put it in a small ass room. And you know, now we can't go see it. Now we're just here. You know, we got here 4 hours early, and the line is capped. What the fuck? By the way, I'm WattheWut.
Oh, hi, WattheWut.
So, just letting you know, if you like my videos, check out my Dislike AniTube video. I really, really dislike AniTube, just like most things, but I really dislike AniTube. And I'm also really depressed about Bunny Girl Senpai.
Sucks. It does. I swear.
Not the best executed thing in the world. I went to Giguk versus the Anime Man instead, but even the line to get into that was hell. It's very clear that there's a lack of organization present at Anime Expo. That lack of organization spreading into an issue of the lack of information awareness, which was due to the structure of how the building was made, considering how it's pretty hard to filter in and out, and all of that being an issue of overpopulation. It absolutely was fairly frustrating where to find out where to go. Communication, information, and general organization makes this event suffer a lot, but what's interesting is that what sticks with me more isn't the bad, which is funny for someone like me who is inherently a pessimist. And more interestingly, it's not just me who feels the same. Many of my friends complained about how expensive everything was, how dangerous it was, how hard it was to navigate, and all of that, and when asked if they would do it again, they say yes, 100%, and I'm one of them. What fascinates me so much about this is that, ironically, this being a convention for anime fans, this reminds me a lot of the mentality of the anime community. We are constantly complaining about everything about it, being the way others watch anime, what anime is popular, what anime isn't popular, what certain genres certain shows belong to, what even classifies as anime, toxic fans, and so much more. Our community that we are in will complain about the fact that many of us are even at this convention, talking about how bad it is, yet for those of us that were there, it's one of the things that we look forward to the most. And with the anime community, many of us will complain about everything and even hate being here, yet all of us are still here. All of us are still proud, or an equivalent of, to call ourselves anime fans. I know that despite how much I complain about anime discourse, that I actively engage in it. I enjoy having conversations, having arguments, and making jokes with others about anime because it's something I'm passionate about. Anime is something I can't actively have conversations about with most people despite how widespread it's slowly becoming. So when I do, no matter how cringy it might be, I get into that conversation. It's this desire for community that all of us have that keeps us wanting to communicate with others about the things that we like, to find people who understand us. All of us naturally will connect to others because we want people like us. And at Anime Expo, there's not just one of us, hundreds of thousands of us descend into LA for one day where we can be as open as we want about our love and meet others who are open about it as well. It's the only place where I can see someone on the street and casually ask them about their thoughts on Fire Force or Dr. Stone, where I can see others proclaiming their favorite shows to the world, where I can find others like me to talk endlessly about Love Live too. These 4 days where the city is covered with the thing I fell in love with is something I find absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd that this could happen. But more importantly, as a creator, I find that this contradictory mentality spreads especially to the community that I seem to dislike the most, because AniTube is probably the best representation of this mindset around. All of us are constantly complaining not just about the state of discourse and of opinions, but also of the actions of other anime YouTubers, and not a day goes by where I don't see a YouTuber complaining about a YouTuber. I am also guilty of this as well, very guilty. But the issue is that all of us have our own little problems with AniTube. Yet so many of us push to become an anime YouTuber, and the number of anime YouTubers rises exponentially with each passing day, with more content and more opinions being thrust out there. And whether or not you view that as a bad thing, you have to agree that that mirrors what I'm seeing every year as complaints for this convention are voiced. Yet with each of those passing years, the attendance rises in turn. Despite how much I seem to argue and throw shade at with many of these YouTubers, one of the best parts about Anime Expo is meeting them on purpose, to see how they really feel about this community that I hate and care so much about.
What are your thoughts on the state of the anime YouTube community? And secondly, could you please say hi, I'm WattheWut?
Oh, no way. This guy did a really, really good video about how much he hates the anime community. Honestly, like, I'm kind of like, I don't keep up with that much anime YouTube stuff because there was a time when I really did, but it kind of got to the point where I was like, I want my videos to feel like my videos, and so I didn't want them to feel like, you know, like a Giguk video or like a Mother's Basement video. Like, I wanted it just to be my kind of own thing, and so I took a big step back from kind of watching that sort of stuff. But that said, I think like it is an infinitely fascinating community for the right and the wrong reasons, you know what I mean? And I think it is cool that like it does spur so much discussion. It can be a little bit intense to be the subject of that sometimes, but that just kind of comes with the territory. Yeah, you motherfucker. It's cool. And so, what did you want me to say?
Hi, I'm WattheWut.
Hi, I'm WattheWut.
This year, as well as being my second time attending Anime Expo, marks my first as the organizer of the AniTuber meetup. Not without tons of help, of course, with Ono no Taku helping me invite so many of the YouTubers who came, and Onimaru making sure everything and everyone stayed informed and on task. I honestly was nervous about how it would turn out, but from what I saw, everyone had an amazing time. You're reminded when you see everyone that these personalities are just people hiding behind a computer. Many of us spend so much time in vitriol criticizing them and such, but as all of them are standing around conversing and having a good time, that goes away. They're just people like you and me who are passionate about the things you're passionate about.
Hi, I'm WattheWut. I think.
Hey, I'm WattheWut.
No, I'm WattheWut.
Well, hello, it's WattheWut. Nah, fuck them. I'm WattheWut.
Shit, dude.
Hi, I'm WattheWut, and you're watching Disney Channel.
I'm WattheWut, and I'm also a 42 believer, so follow me on Twitter.
Wrong, I'm WattheWut.
What? Come on, man.
Is this WattheWut roleplay session?
All right.
What are you doing?
Oh, you're WattheWut?
He's not WattheWut. I'm WattheWut.
Oh, you're WattheWut.
I'm WattheWut.
Oh my God, how you're WattheWut? Are you WattheWut?
Hell yeah, I'm WattheWut.
Hell yeah.
I am Spartacus.
I'm WattheWut. No, I am. No, I'm the WattheWut. I'm the person. WattheWut is on first. But who is on second is the question we're asking here, right?
I'm not with all of the whole what, not what, who?
Where? What?
Why?
Why?
Who?
How? Okay, why though?
Hi, I'm the YouTuber WattheWut. Please watch Love Live.
The reason I even consider coming in the first place is knowledge that I'm able to meet the people I talk to all the time about online, but also because of a chance to see Aqua in real life and sing along with them. I don't think it's a stretch to say that almost every other person at Anime Expo was a Love Live fan. I never see them in real life, but on these 4 days I see them everywhere. To see people as passionate as I am excited beyond belief to see Aqua perform in real life is amazing. Almost as amazing as it was to be able to see them sing and dance. To see everyone singing and crying together as they performed to the music that turned us into fans in the first place. To connect with others over our common obsession. To meet people who understand you. If it weren't for someone on Twitter who follows me, I would have never gotten this chance to begin with because he was able to get me, Rika, and Kraft's tickets to this moment that I'm never gonna forget.
Just got out of Love Live school. It got over the rainbow. I'm losing my mind. Oh my God. Oh my God. My back hurts. Oh. No, I'm good. I'm good.
When I remember Anime Expo 2019, it's not going to be the complaints that stick with me, despite how infinitely many of them there are, because the things that are positive are things that will stay with me forever. When I think about the long and disgusting lines out front, I'll remember instead that my friend called me and saved me a good spot in line, saving me from that hell and really making my day. I'll remember hanging out with Onimaru and Kraftsdorf after not having made the Bunny Girl Senpai line. I'll remember talking to other Love Live fans about the stupidest things yet still having a great time.
Hey, Jerry Seinfeld, I didn't know you were a fan of Love Live. Jerry, say the joke about the airline food. Okay, Jerry, fine.
I'll remember hanging out with Mr. Meatman and him being surprised that this was in fact me. I'll remember when I was walking in the crowded artist alley and I made someone's day by singing the Dragon Tales theme song, which ironically made my day. When I think about the earthquakes, I'll instead remember that I was outside with Super Eyepatch Wolf as he talked with me about being a YouTuber and reminding me that I'm not the only one who hates the videos that we make.
Honestly, like, the kind of personal side of my videos, it's not something I've ever, I guess, consciously been like, I'm going to be more personal, I'm going to include more of myself in this. Sometimes I feel like I get to a point with YouTube where I have to talk about it, and it feels nearly insincere to me if I don't. And so then, like with the Gretzko video, my following had kind of grown to this size where I don't even know what to do with it anymore. Like, this was all a mistake. Us all being here was an accident. This should never have happened. And then, like, with the most recent kind of, or with the last year's video, why you should still watch Hunter x Hunter, like, that was the case where, like, I just was so burnt out from it that I kind of had to include it like that. And so it's less a conscious choice and more just like something I feel like I have to do. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
I remember all the jokes everyone was making and that Aqua danced right through that earthquake as everyone kept cheering along. It's absolutely absurd that despite all of the complaints I have, many of them are legitimate. All I can talk about are the good memories. It's absurd that some of the most fun I had was playing with Bubbles, with Vindy and Mr. Meatman, playing Bakugan 4 days in a row, and winning this booster pack of cards that I have no idea what they do, nor any Bakugan to play them with, and playing a Naruto card game with Mr. Meatman that neither of us understood, and playing Little Witch Academia VR and waiting in line. It's absurd that I'm willing to stand outside in this heat because I wanted to see people who watch my stuff as they hug me and tell me to keep up the work. It's absurd that I was hanging out in the crowded, small Novo theater for hours, standing up and enjoyed every single second and cried my eyes out as I sang along. It's absurd that I spent an American national holiday waiting in line for Love Live merch. It's absurd that I'm willing to take all of this time, all of these resources and all of this effort just to meet people, and that others are willing to do the same. But the most absurd thing of all is that I can't wait to do it all over again. Thank you guys for watching this sappy crybaby video with yours truly, WattheWut. I really do hope next year I get able to meet more of you guys at Anime Expo. But making these videos makes it all worth it, and hearing all your guys' support really does help too. Speaking of support, I would like to thank people like FlutterRodButt, Shannon Makes Video, Thanks Naturad, Duckman, and Rika Fag for making these videos possible. They're able to pay for all the stuff that I need. They're pretty cool. Thank you. If you want more information on videos that are coming out, you can always follow me on Twitter, check out my Discord, and if you don't want to donate to my Patreon, you can always donate to my coffee. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.